Good morning, LBC Radio. My name is Corey Rosen, and you're listening to the Story Podcast. Today, I have on a super awesome guest. But before we get into that, if you would like to support my show and the podcast, please be sure to check out the shop at facebook.com/the story Corey Rosen. We have these awesome stickers you can buy, and we have shirts and hoodies with the logo and the first 50 guests on the back. But those are limited edition. Be sure you get them now before they run out in September. Today, I have on Connor Devlin.
Howdy.
Connor Devlin is from Schuylkill.
Oh yeah, Schuylkill.
Schuylkill Haven,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Played in with the Reading Buccaneers and Bluecoats drum and bugle corps. Played with and directed bands at Hershey Park and directed at Dorney Park. Connor started Big Boy Brass in 2016, as well as his other band, Street Beans, in 2022. Currently, Connor plays with both of his bands and freelances all the time with a lot of great bands. Connor went to Millersville University for music ed, taught public school in Harrisburg for 5 years, and then retired to pursue music full time. You can find him on Instagram at connor.devlin, Big Boy Brass at Big Boy Brass, and all the others are in the description below. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing so good. Thanks for having me, Corey.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. You are one of the only big brass bands in Lancaster, right?
Oh yeah. I think we're the only brass band. I don't know. I don't know if there's any
Well, I tell you
other
what,
ones.
you're probably one of the only.
Oh wait, there is one.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, a couple McCaskey kids. See, I used to teach at McCaskey with Matt Woodson, marching band, and some of those guys actually got together. Those boys brass. So a little competition on the
Those boys
streets.
brass.
Oh yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to big boys.
Yeah, that's not the big boys. That's those boys.
That'd
you
be
know?
funny if they named themselves the small boys brass.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But you're one of the one of the only sousaphone players in like a 20-mile radius, probably.
Yeah, yeah, and because of that, I play with Snack Time down in Philly, play with Ocean Avenue Stompers down in Jersey, and I make a lot of connections through that. So that's why I was able to retire. I'm 28, so
Tell me
yeah.
what started that journey for you as a kid. What was it that got you into music, got you into playing instruments?
So I think like my earliest memory where I was just like really affected. I was at a block party as a little kid, and I remember just the bass drum, like the thump of the bass drum.
Hitting
I just
you.
felt it in my
Yeah.
chest, and I think it just like hits different when you're a little kid,
It
like
just shakes your entire body.
yeah, yeah. So ever since that was that always comes to mind. Like I always liked messing around on the acoustic guitar. Like I never had one, or like the piano, but the rare chances you get to is pretty dope. Till I got to fourth grade, and my parents had like some like rent to own program through the school. Played trumpet. So yeah, I was playing trumpet for a while. Got to high school. I went to a really small school, and they were like, "Oh, we need a tuba player. Connor, can you play tuba?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't care. I'd like to play the most biggest and obnoxious instrument, so let's get down." And that's what happened.
It's a lot of fun to play the sousaphone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a whole vibe. It makes a scene. You can't just walk in a place quietly.
And
You know.
you can't walk into a place with a sousaphone player and just ignore them.
Yeah, it does command all your attention. Yep.
So what was it like after high school playing the sousaphone? Did you have to buy one? Did they let you use a school one? How did you? What was next from there?
Well, I was anti sousaphone. As a tuba player, I was anti sousaphone because I was in the drum and bugle corps. It's kind of like the NFL of like marching band.
Of course, yeah.
It's some cult stuff, but
It
the
is.
people that were in it, they would say it's cult stuff, and I say that very lovingly.
Hmm.
And they were all about, shoulder tubas, no sousaphones. So when I got to Millersville, my second year, they used sousaphones, and I thought this thing sucks. It's out of tune, it's too heavy.
Yeah, the sousaphone
It's
is the one that wraps
blatty.
around you, right?
Yep. And when I fell in love with the sousaphone is at Hershey Park. So I had to acquire one. My first year, I stole it from Millersville, but it's been returned, And I did it for 3 more years, and I finally got a sousaphone my second year. I did yard work and paid a couple $100 for it.
There you go.
So yeah, and then that sousaphone's taken me pretty far. But it was at Hershey where I started to play without sheet music, where I started to play more styles like jazz and pop and funk, where you play more by ear and improvise more. So that as a tuba player, you're very classically trained. So it's been a journey, of course, getting rid of the sheet music. But now I'm anti sheet music, and now I'm pro
Really?
sousaphone. That's right.
I can't imagine being anti sheet music.
Yeah, man, I'm anti sheet music. I say, come at me. Get in the comments, all right? I'm anti sheet music. I think that if you're playing music, it should be from the soul, And the sheet music's good. You can learn a lot of tunes that way. And if you know the piece of music and you're just using the sheet music for reference, you could still put a lot of passion into it.
For sure, right? No, that's fair. If you're only using the sheet music because you're sticking to the material, unless it's something classical, then you're kind of missing the point.
Yeah, that's fair. But in classical music, there were guys that improvised.
Oh, for sure.
Whole cadenzas, right. And
yeah.
Now the cadenzas are written out. I always tell my guys, if you're reading music, you're not playing music.
That's fair.
Sorry, Corey.
Well, because sheet music takes you only so far. If you need to learn a piece, you need sheet music, right?
Well,
unless you're a prodigy that can learn it by ear. Right.
But it's not a prodigy thing. It's like the first song takes a long time, and then every song after that takes a little bit less. Because you can learn these tricks. And the thing is, like, classical music, it would take a long, long time. But if you're comfortable transcribing jazz, because jazz is very difficult.
Oh, it's very difficult.
You can transcribe anything. Because you just learn the forms, you learn the scales, and it just all starts to make sense, And it forces you to hear it in your head. Really listening to the music,
That's fair. I've seen older people just looking at sheet music for days, and I know what's going on in their head.
Oh,
They can hear everything.
Yeah. I can't do that. I don't sit down with my Beethoven scores. And
that's probably because you've never.
I don't own any Beethoven scores.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's tuba. Beethoven was anti-tuba. Did you know that? No, I don't think it existed yet. So
that's what I was about to say. I don't
very
think
sad.
it existed.
If the tuba existed when Beethoven was alive, he'd be a tuba player for sure. Come on, man.
I'm pretty sure concert tuba. That's a different conversation. So how did you learn to become more of a marching band style? How does that work? What are some of the tunes? Obviously, the Saints Go Marching In is a classic. But how did you learn those basic songs?
Well, the tradition of sousaphone and jazz, I think it goes back to pretty much New Orleans. So I listened to a lot of New Orleans stuff and the way they played. And they typically play a lot less busy than a bass would play because you have to keep breathing a bunch of air in, you have to breathe. So there's like a beauty in the simplicity and how they repeat and the style and the feel. So I think listening to a lot of the New Orleans stuff and learning what they're doing, some of the tunes are so simple, Do what you wanna. It's just boom, boom, no, do, the whole time. And I think there's a beauty in that simplicity, So it was in 2015. It was at Hershey Park, and that's when I started to do jazz. And I'd go to jam sessions, and I'd have my real book, and I'd show up to the jam sessions, and they'd love it. It was a novelty. At the jam session I would mainly go to, they didn't have a bass player, so they were actually content with me just like being up there doing my best,
Right.
Like I remember this one time we were playing Night in Tunisia. You know that tune?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, when we get to the B section, take it out to lunch." Yeah. They were all like, "Yeah, take it out to lunch." They were loving it. And before I could even take a breath to say, "What's take it out to lunch?"
What does that mean?
The tune was already counted in. We were already off to the races. So I've definitely had some trial by fire moments.
Well, that's the best learning experience too.
Yeah, but the thing is, developing your ear, that has led me to play with so many groups that I would have had no business playing with because I don't know all the licks. I'm not the best. I'm from the middle of nowhere,
Right.
you know. But what I do bring is my vibe, and I'll be on my toes. I'll do my best to actively listen and get in there
And no matter what, you're gonna have a party on the stage.
all the time. You gotta
That's
bring the party. I bring the party.
that's something I
Yeah,
constantly seen is
yeah.
every time Connor's done with the gig, he's drenched,
I bring out my shirt after every set.
and sometimes your shirts get destroyed.
Yeah, my shirt. Yeah, I can show you a picture. Maybe instead of the headshot, we could just use that picture. Yeah. Are you allowed to put nipples on there, or is that
I would refrain.
okay? Is this the worst episode you've ever done so far?
No, not at all,
Okay.
actually.
I
But
feel like this one's pretty bad.
well, I'm curious. Like, what are
We'll
some
set
of
the
the
bar low. Go on. Sorry, I'm.
no? What are some of the concerns that you have with the sousaphone? Because you got to worry about your shirts, you got to worry about your breathing, got to worry about your posture. You can injure yourself very easily with the sousaphone.
Yeah. I typically don't think about any of that stuff. I think I typically think about breaking my sousaphone because my first sousaphone is from 1940, so it's just like always breaking. And I recently got a new one that was broken, of course. So I basically just like am constantly fixing them, and then like one will break, and I'll just use the backup. So it's nice that I finally have two.
Hmm.
Whereas opposed to back in the day, I would just have to like scrounge for a sousaphone. You know, I just hit up everybody and their mother. Like, you got any tubas,
You got any tubas?
sousaphones?
Hey,
I noticed you are storing these flowers in the bell of this sousaphone in your mother's basement. I'm wondering if I could maybe use that.
use the rest of it.
Yeah, let me get that tuba. Yeah, man.
Do you have any tubas?
But I mean, for breathing, you know, there's the breathing gym. You're supposed to run. You know, running is good for you. Just staying healthy. I stretch. Um, I'm like kind of stocky. You know, I used to be like 280. Now I'm like a healthy 225, a happy, jolly 225. So I think like, you know, I kind of conditioned my body by drinking 2 liters of Pepsi every night while playing Halo 3. Shout out Halo 3. And you know, I had that fat boy status, got those thick thighs. So I'm made for the sousaphone, you know. It's a part of me.
Big Boy Brass.
Yes,
What
sir.
say?
Yeah. People, that's just so you know, that's the name of the band.
Yeah,
Like,
for
if you
sure,
see me
yeah.
around, like, my name's Connor, like, not Big Boy Brass. Like, people are just like, Big Boy Brass. You know, oh, clipping. That was too loud. I'm sorry.
No, you're
But
good. You're good.
that's how they say it, though.
So, what was the process of creating Big Boy Brass?
The process, so it was my 3rd year at Hershey, and, well, it was actually my 2nd year. And me and 2 of the other guys that we were at the Hershey Park band, it was a strolling band, paid great. Best summer job. They're actually looking for a trumpet and a tuba player right now to replace who they got, I think. But like, it pays like $600 a week, 5 shows a day,
Wow.
6 days a week. I did it for 4 years throughout college, and then ended up like directing some of the groups. Super fun time. You really work on your performance chops. Changed my life, you know. Well, me and the drummer and a trombone player, we did a side gig in Westchester, and we were walking back to our cars after the gig, and somebody was like, and in Westchester, it's a pretty ritzy area, you know. Somebody was like, "Oh man, can you guys play something for us?" And we're like, "Nah, we're tired. We're walking back to our cars. It's late. I don't want to disturb the peace." And they were like, "We'll give you $20." And I'm like, "Yep." So we play Saints Go Marching In. 20 from them, 20 from somebody else, some ones, you know. And, you know, the light bulb went off. Like, yo, we could
Do something.
make more money probably playing on the street than we do at the park, you know? And contractually, we weren't able to play the Hershey Park music on the street. So we were just kind of like making it up. So, like, the next day, we went out to Lancaster first Friday. And ever since then, we've busked on the street. And it went great. Now, the Hershey musicians, they lived far away. They would go to those good jazz schools. They would go to Berkeley, University of Illinois, you know, UMass, UArts, and they would come up. So they would live in some apartments by Hershey. So once they were gone for the fall, we still wanted to have a band, Matt Woodson and I. And I got some of my homies from Millersville that I played in a brass quintet with, you know, Vinny Shakora, Tim Zettlemore, shout out Michael Duncan, Ryan McGlashan, the OGs. And basically since then, the lineup has changed, but we try and every time somebody leaves, we try and get somebody that fills their shoes. And it's been 5 years, so it's been a long time. What yeah, I guess that answers your question. I'm good at rambling too. I can ramble on about anything.
That's why podcasts are awesome.
I love podcasts. Yeah.
So tell me about the process of creating Street Beans. That's with Rory Rush, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So the beans, so the big boys, they started making a bunch of money, and they don't want to play on the street anymore. I give them a hard time for it. I say, are you hungry? You still hungry? Because I'm hungry. My favorite place to play is on the street because you see in real time how the people react to what you're doing. So if it's good, you're getting paid. If it's not good, you're not making money. If we don't make a lot of money, I say to the guys, we just didn't play good enough. It's just facts. So it was 2021. Me and Dominic Mascaro, who's one of the big boys, and Rory. I was a big fan of Rory's music. So like, I hit up Rory once, and Rory like kind of ghosted me. Before Rory even knew me, like I was like, "Yo, you seem cool. We should hang out." And he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll totally hang." Didn't hear from him.
Yeah, right.
Didn't hear from him until eventually one day we ended up jamming outside of his house, and then I didn't talk to him for like another year, and then like a year later we became friends. Which is sometimes you just meet somebody, and they're going to be a big part of your life. You just don't know how or when, but I think you just kind of feel it when it happens. I think that's why I reached out, because I just saw the crazy music that Roy was making, and I'm like, I want that. That energy. That's what's up. So me, Rory, and Dom just went out, Central Market, good busking scene. If you try to know the busking spots, I could tell you the spots. I know where to busk. I know how to do it. Been doing it since 2015. So we went out, made money. More friends joined. We got a trumpet player, Owen on trumpet. We got John Jett on sax. We got Rachel on vocals. Shout out Albie White on guitar. Yeah, Avery Moat. He's got the nice aux setup. I think that's everybody. If I forgot somebody, I'm going to feel real bad.
That's okay. You'll find them on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Nice. Yeah, but Street Beans, it's less jazzy, less.
It's more
Big Boy Brass, we play a lot of like the New Orleans feel.
Mm-hmm.
But with Street Beans, we're trying to do more like hardcore, punk, funk.
Yeah, it's and plus the classics that you got to hear on like September and stuff, right?
Yeah, for weddings, if they're paying. Yeah,
that's what surprised me. One of the things that surprised me when I went to your show at Zootropolis was you guys just went and didn't stop.
Yeah,
and every single song flowed right into the next song, no stopping. It was da 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 da.
Yeah,
straight, no intro, no nothing, just right into the next one. And it was crazy.
Yeah, we try to do it like acoustic DJ style. That's how a lot of great bands that I've like sat in with, like Snack Time down in Philly. Are you familiar with Snack Time?
I'm not familiar with anybody.
Snack Time has a new album out. Just came out. Awesome. They play the halftime shows for the 76ers.
Oh wow.
They're incredible. And from playing with them, I played a 3-hour gig. They played in one key the whole time. The whole thing was in E.
That's kind of nice though.
Even if I didn't know the songs, it was all in E. Yeah. It was like, I don't know.
Reliable.
Yeah. They're just built different in Philly. Philly jazz musicians, like if you're trying to play jazz, I feel like Philly is a great spot because it's not as hard as like New York City. You don't gotta move to LA,
Right.
That they have these awesome, like some of the best jazz like in the world. Like, and I don't know, what does my opinion matter? But Time on a Sunday night, it's a place called Time. Sunday nights in Philly. It's like, Adele's piano player was there the last time I went and like just shushed the whole room with just piano.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, it is.
I
I
gotta
forget
get
what the
out.
question was. I got
No,
a little
it's
sidetracked.
well fine. I gotta get out to Philly one of these days and just go explore the music scene.
Yeah, I'll totally go with you if you want to
Yeah,
come. We're going to Chris's on Thursday. If you want to
Thursday.
come, yeah, Chris's Jazz Cafe. I know you're a busy boy.
I know I'm a
Yeah.
very busy boy.
Yeah, but we try and do the acoustic DJ thing. We try and just go
Mm.
song to song to song. That way, my whole philosophy with it is like less talking, more playing. We're here to play. If they're on the dance floor, like I've been on the dance floor getting all sweaty, thinking like, yeah, I'll do one more, you know. But if the music never stops, like DJs, they don't stop the music.
Yeah,
They
it's not their
keep it
job.
going, you know. They keep it going, and that way it just escalates.
And it's always a song you don't expect, or
Yeah.
the song that it just it clicks.
Mhm.
You go from September, which is all just the party song of all Big Brass, right?
Yeah.
And then you go right into Uptown Funk. It's like I can't leave the dance floor
No.
now.
Yeah, you can't.
And then you go on to do Celebrate, and it's like I can't leave
Yeah,
now.
got him.
God, yeah, it just keep them on, keep pulling them on, because
Yep.
people will get tired. But if you keep playing these high energy songs, and you pull out something like "Rude" out of left field, it's like I haven't heard that in years.
Yep.
Yeah, it's keep them on the dance floor. It's doing something that most shows aren't anymore, where they have like a 5-minute break, then their next set, right?
Yeah, the thing is, musicians think they're great at banter, but like we're really not, you know.
They're great at doing music.
Unless you're like Jack Stratton, or like I don't know who
Like an
else
actual
can do
comedian.
banter. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I do the banter. I beg for tips and stuff. You know, but that's the extent of my banter. Like we try and do it no talking,
Mm.
just none. You know.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Don't mess up your set by talking.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, these cool musicians playing on stage, and then they get on the mic and start telling these corny jokes, and it's like, ah, man,
Well.
I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
You're musicians.
Yeah, yeah, your jokes suck.
Right?
Yeah,
Unless you got a backstory to this track, I don't want to hear it.
yeah, I don't even want to hear the backstory.
Really?
Like, yeah, because the thing with the music, it could be interpreted interpreted in many ways. Yeah. So, you know, you shouldn't tell people what to think.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, so what is it like to build your entire life around music, to go full time with music? That you don't have to have a day job. You can just do gigs all the time. What are some of the things you have to worry about? Some of the things you have to think about? Some of the things you have to do in order to do that?
Yeah. Okay, so it took me 5 years to kind of get established. And, you know, I've heard people say, like, give yourself 5 to 10 years of just being a professional musician. Like, and this was from a guy in New York City saying this. If you can't do it in 5 to 10 years, maybe find something else to do, because you only live for so long, you know?
Of course.
Well, I was working a full-time job, and then at night I would do my passion project, which was the brass band. And I got to a point with teaching where, like, I joke around and tell people I retired, but what really happened is I burned out. After 5 years, I left that place in tears. Harrisburg School District. It was tough, man. You know, teachers don't get enough credit, you know. The kids give them a hard time, the parents give them a hard time, the admin gives them a hard time, and teachers aren't allowed to say that they're struggling. You know, you're supposed to say, I love it. I love the kids. Because you do love the kids and you do want to make a difference, but our society capitalizes on people with big hearts. They're going to do those jobs no matter how much they're disrespected or how little they're paid. So I left that place, and it turns out I was making enough money just off of music. I was just hustling hard enough that I could actually make more money playing the tuba than what a teacher makes, which is pathetic. You know, these kids, I'm just going on stage, getting all sweaty, making a ruckus. Like, these teachers are shaping the future of our society.
Yeah.
You know, well, but now I'm having a great time. Basically, all I try and do is make $100 a day. If I can't make $100 today, then I'll make up for it tomorrow. You know, I still teach private lessons. Basically, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the slower days, so I teach private lessons those days.
Mm.
And then every other day I just gig. Like tonight I'm going to New Jersey to play with the Ocean Avenue Stompers. Pretty hyped about that. This weekend taking the Street Beans to Charlottesville. They got a dope busking scene down there.
Charlottesville, South Carolina?
Virginia.
Virginia, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make like 1,500 in like an hour and a half, 2 hours in a little pedestrian mall.
That's wild.
I know the spots, Corey. Get a battery, take the keys out, ditch the sheet music.
I gotta come out with you some of these things.
It's the best place because you're playing for anybody.
Right. And that's something I've always wanted to do is just busk. I don't want to necessarily make a living out of it, but I just want to say I've done it.
You got to make your own opportunities. As a musician, that's the thing. As a tuba player, most bands don't have a tuba player. Make your own band.
Right, yeah.
You don't have any gigs, go play on the street. Doesn't matter what kind of band you are. Doesn't matter if you're playing original music, if you all got electronics. Busking law is you can play anywhere you want till they make you leave. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, that's all I know. That's my whole story. I just played on the street, got lucky. Now I get to do it for fun.
And hey, who cares if you get to play for fun? That's do your practice time outside, right?
Yeah, that's what I do at Buchanan Park.
Yeah.
I play this fun cat and mouse game. Do any of the cops listen to this?
Probably not.
Okay, I don't
know if you want to out yourself though.
No, it's fun. It makes it fun. There's more cat and mouse. But I do this fun game where I go to Buchanan Park in Lancaster and I play in the middle of the night. Because that's when I like to practice. But like as a tuba player, I can't practice then. And I just play till like the cops. I see them rolling down the driveway and then I duck into the bushes. It's a fun game, It's really easy to shed your lines when there's the pressure. The pressure's on,
course.
But yeah, you just got to play every day. Like, I feel like professional musicians can reach their level of whatever. And people call them prodigies or geniuses or whatever, when in reality, they just do it every day.
Yeah, it's just practice.
But if you're working 40 hours a week, which we have to do in this society, you have to make money. They'll squeeze you out of all your money. You have to pay money just to exist.
You got to pay money for your job.
So I'm not shaming anybody for not playing every day, but all I'm saying is like since I've played every day, I notice what I hear in my head is more closely what comes out of the instrument. That's what I got.
So another question I have is how do you so it's all busking. Where do you find these spots? How do you find these spots? Do you have to do your research? What research does that include?
Mm-hmm. So I'm not a research guy. I'm pretty like, I just try stuff out and see what works. So we discovered Phoenixville. I never went to Phoenixville ever. You ever been to Phoenixville?
Phoenixville, Pennsylvania?
Yep.
No.
You ever been to Westchester?
I have been to Westchester.
So we were busking in Westchester, and Westchester was great. We'd make like over 1,000, each round. We would be on the corner of High and Gay, right across from the Iron Hill. Until this year, before we even played a note, the cops said you gotta get a permit. So we said okay, So they shut us down, and we're like, we'll get our permits. But in the meantime, everybody was bummed. We're like, oh, we drove all the way out here from Lancaster. Now we gotta drive all the way home. And we decided let's just try and go to Phoenixville. We hear Phoenixville's lit, as the kids say, and we gave it a shot, and turns out it's way better than Westchester. Wow. Yeah. So some other good spots, Lancaster Central Market, of course. Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. You could make upwards of 900 if you play at the right time. Yeah. I mean, you got to be good too.
Of course.
If you're not killing, people aren't going to pay as much. Another good spot, Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's tough with the cops there, but there's some tricks. On Sundays, you can play in the park, and they won't really shut you down. Now you can't have amplification. We've discovered the amplification. That's like for means of getting shut down a lot.
Right.
We use a battery with monitors for the vocals and guitar amp. And you're good with amplification in Phoenixville, Lancaster. Rittenhouse Square is probably not going to fly in Philly. All you got to do is find somewhere with foot traffic and just try it.
That's one thing I did in New York. Is there's an island out there. It looks like it's just a bunch of gigantic golf tees. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No.
But
Oh, I've seen that thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like a floating man-made island.
yeah.
Yeah.
So on that foot trail there's this art. Uh, it's art you can touch, but it's art music thing. So it's like a 3x3 square of bells. You just step on them and they make bell. It's like
Oh,
FOA
yeah.
shorts, but only 9 notes.
Yeah.
So I messed around. I was there on New Year's Eve, and I was just started messing around on it, and people started watching me,
Yeah.
and I was like, am I doing it?
Did you have the bucket out? Did you have the
No,
bucket
I didn't
out?
have anything.
Oh, you
I
gotta
was,
put the bucket out.
I also felt bad because some of the kids wanted to come over and play as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not mine. It's
Yep.
the city's. So I didn't know how to balance that. And I wanted to go back and learn, and because it's not like a perfect major scale at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was clearly made to play something.
Yeah.
Because I figured out some Christmas tunes on it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But I'm always curious, like, what if I went back there, just learned it, and just put out a hat or a bucket?
Yeah,
Because
man.
there's like 1,000 people walking through that.
It's worth a shot.
Constantly.
It couldn't
Right.
hurt.
It can't hurt.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a 3-hour drive to New York City. It's fine
Mhm.
with no parking. But
Yeah. Yeah, with the bucket philosophy, you want as many buckets as possible and keep them empty. People think, oh, let me warm it up. Throw $1 or $2 in there. No, it actually works better if you have empty buckets.
because people are like, oh, I'll give them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these guys are making nothing and they're really good. And then little do they know the trombone case is full.
Cool.
It's packed. So,
That's funny. That's smart.
yep.
I wonder if they do that with like bucket drumming.
What? Put buckets out?
Well, they
Hide the
just-
buckets?
No, they stuff
Hide
the
the
money
money?
up in the bucket.
If they were smart. You make more money doing that. We
Yeah.
discovered that in Westchester when the cop was like, I'm going to shut you guys down if you don't keep that bucket empty. And we kept the bucket empty and we made like twice as much as we used to do just from keeping a full bucket. Because people see a full bucket and they're like, oh, they're fine. They're taken
fine,
care of. I'm
yeah.
just going to enjoy the music.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
Busking 101.
Yeah.
So tell me about what's one of the best ways to practice, one of the best ways to learn philosophy as a musician.
Okay. So I learned this from Tuba Red, and his name's Devin Taylor. I took some lessons from him over COVID. He like most recently played on the Super Bowl with Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If you look at like the halftime show, there's a sousaphone player. That's Tuba Red. He's played with like Postmodern Jukebox and stuff. He's played with everybody.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, and he's the best. And what he would do, he would make me transcribe stuff, and I would have to sing the whole thing in tune just from my head before I played it. And it was hard,
Yeah.
I usually didn't do that. And it was like a magic trick. When I finally could sing it in my head, when I finally put it on the instrument, it's like it just came out. Like that's what's wild about music. So many times we don't hear it in our head and we're just trying to get the notes out, but you just got to hear it in your head. And like teachers all the time will say, "Oh, did you hear it in your head? Did you hear it in your head?" And that you got to teach that, asking somebody, "Did you hear it in the head?" Of course they're going to go, "Yeah, of course I hear it in my head."
Right.
But they really don't. So it's really like, if you can't sing it, you can't play it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to sing it. So, I mean, that's kind of like my philosophy. You ever read The Music Lesson by Victor Wooten?
No.
Oh, man. So this book's great. And something that he says in this is, music, we kind of don't teach it correctly because, like, when you learn to speak, Corey, did your parents sit you down with the vocab words, make you write?
Sometimes.
Well, when you were a little
But
baby,
no,
when you
of
first learned
course
to talk,
not.
how'd they do it? They just talk to you,
me,
right?
Yeah.
They just talk to you.
Say mama.
Well,
Say baba.
the best musicians are the ones that grow up just playing the music,
Mm-hmm.
not studying the staff. Now, you need to know that stuff. I mean, you don't need to, but knowing that stuff,
Helps.
yeah, it makes you a lot more versatile. But what's more important is just building your vocabulary by listening and playing it. I've only been playing jazz for 7 years. There's people I play with, they've been playing jazz since they were like babies,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes to show, I mean, the longer you do something, the better you're gonna be. You know, the more hours you put in. But yeah, anyway, I mean, Victor Wooten just says like music's a language. It should be taught more like by ear,
Mm-hmm.
not by paper. You know,
Well, that's very.
that's why I'm anti sheet music.
That's why anti sheet
Yeah.
music.
I'm coming for the sheet music industry. You hear me? All right.
So tell me some of the unique stuff you can do with a sousaphone that people might not know about.
Well, number one, you can play without electricity. I can play in the rain. You know, guitar players are real cool till it rains. What are you gonna do, huh? You're not gonna play in the rain. You can conduct lightning, very good with a sousaphone. Yeah, that's right. A lot of sousaphone players get struck by lightning, so I got to be very careful. You know, if it's raining, I'm good. But if the lightning scares me. It's my weakness, my one weakness. Yeah. So
otherwise, you're too powerful.
So also with the sousaphone, and this comes from a lot of New Orleans stuff. You know, you could do the woof, which is like it's like the bass equivalent of the whoom. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that's like a New Orleans thing. With tuba, I mean, I don't know, man. The unique stuff.
Circular breathing.
I can't circular breathe on
You can't
tuba.
circular
I don't know
breathe?
anybody that can circular breathe on tuba. Yeah, it takes too much air. It takes a lot of air. Plus, like with tuba, you want to get that relaxed air.
Mm.
You know, I don't know. Let me think. What else is special about the sousaphone?
Can knock a person out with it.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I don't know. It's like it's not the best instrument, you know, but somebody's got to do it, and luckily, not enough people do it. So you don't even have to be that good. Like that's the thing. Like nobody does it. Guitar, trumpet, you got to be really good. Sousaphone, like, you know, I'm not good. But since I play an instrument nobody plays, I'm in there.
Yeah, it's wild to me. All the like unique, out of nowhere instruments that nobody plays. I have an accordion. If I learned how to play basic stuff on that accordion,
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd get all sorts of gigs with that.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got
Yeah.
and you got to make space for yourself too. As
Yeah.
well.
I play the accordion. I learned in high school, taught myself the accordion. And this one guy always wanted me, a good friend of mine always wanted me to play in a polka band, and I always said no. I only did it once for his senior recital. But I mean, you gotta love polkas. Do you love polkas?
No, but I can learn.
Do you love
to.
like hipster kind of indie music?
It would depend.
I
I'd have
feel like
to,
the accordion could be at a home there. Doesn't Beirut. You know that band?
I've heard of it.
They have an accordion.
I know because the accordion's also good in Celtic music as well.
Oh yeah.
So, and there's for whatever reason, there's a big Celtic scene around here.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, I feel like it's because like one of the biggest venues is Tellus too.
That's also true. Yeah,
You know,
that's fair. I didn't think
good Irish pub. Shout out Tellus 360.
Shout out to Lester 16. They have an open mic tonight. I'm gonna be there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Do you think?
What's next? Well, definitely going to. We've been writing music with the Beans. Definitely gonna put out a Bean tape coming soon. You know, right now I'm in my first year being a professional musician. I'm just trying to hustle and trying to make a living, doing what I love, playing music. So that's what it's about. That's my next step.
Tell me about a time when you messed up
Yeah.
and what you had to do to fix that, or et cetera, et cetera.
Ooh, okay. So I've messed up plenty of times. You know, I got so many of these stories. One time we were playing on the Tellus rooftop. That's like where Big Boy Brass, like, yeah. Like we started playing on the rooftop and we kind of sucked. You know, we'd play the same songs every time. But because you played every week, you know, you start to see what the people like, you know, what works. And we left a soundboard out and it got rained on. It got ruined. So instead of soiling the relationship with the booking person and the venue, I just paid out of pocket for the soundboard. It hurt, but I thought I was doing the right thing, you know? So
It was their soundboard or
yeah, it was their soundboard.
that you borrowed?
No, it was used. It was set up for the sound system that we were using,
Mm.
and nobody put it away. So I felt responsible because I'm like, you know, I mean, maybe there
Wow.
should have been a sound guy there, but
Well, I even
I mean,
still,
it is what it
that's
is.
well, yes, you got to do that stuff to salvage relationships. The last thing you want to do is salvage a relationship with one of the biggest bars in town.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tellus has been good to us. So
Tell me about
another time,
another time. Yeah,
another time
tell
we
me more
just running them.
stories. I
We're
want
running
to I
them.
want to hear more stories.
All right, so I was playing with the Oompadelics Oktoberfest band, and this was through a production company, same production company that I worked at Dorney and Hershey with, and I get down to the boardwalk, and I realized that I'd left my mouthpiece and my lead pipe for my sousaphone, so I'm like scrambling. It was terrible. I'm wearing lederhosen. I'm supposed to be playing this German polka music and making a lot of money doing it, and at the beach. And I just called my boss and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I don't have my stuff. And he's like, well, you better just dance around then. You better just
Mhm.
dance, guy. You know, just go out there and dance with the band. And I really didn't want to do that. So I found an extra mouthpiece in my backpack and I duct taped it into the sousaphone and just held the sousaphone like terribly. Pulled out all my slides. It did not sound good, but I think the people were having too much German beer to notice.
Mm.
I think they were just fine. And plus that style of music, I mean, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah, right.
boom,
Just
boom. It's all good.
walking around,
It's all good. That's why I like playing the tuba. Low pressure.
very low pressure.
Low pressure.
Uh, what was it like to direct for some of these parks? What was some of the things you had to do?
Oh man, like at these parks, they hire the good horn players, and the good horn players are the jazz guys. No offense, classical musicians, classical artists work very hard, but I mean, you need for the style of music to play commercial music, you got to know jazz,
Gotta know jazz.
and jazz musicians are
A different breed.
they're comically stiff. In jazz, you're not supposed to smile. You're not really supposed to move. You're just kind of supposed to
Really?
stand there.
Jazz?
Yeah. No, you're supposed to look cool. Like Miles Davis, like he just looks cool.
Fair enough.
He's
Okay.
not doing the two step. You know,
Fair
he's
enough.
he's like chilling. So my job directing is mostly just loosening up the bands, teaching them bits.
Mm.
I got bits for days. You want to hear a bit?
I want to hear a bit.
All right, so one of the bits, we'd be like, "Yo, what's up, folks? We're the Hershey Park Band, and we can play any song. That's right, you name it, Beethoven to Beyonce. We can play anything you want." And the people are like, "We want to hear Don't Stop Believing," and then we would like, "No, Don't Stop Believing," so
Of
we
course,
would play
of
it.
course.
But then they would say, "I don't know, you give me something. What
Play
you got?"
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Beethoven's Fifth. All right. We would actually also play that. We'd play the disco one, but whatever. let's say Corey said,
Rachmaninoff's Second Sonata.
of course, we know Rachmaninoff very well. And then we'd huddle it up. We'd be like, and in the huddle, we wouldn't even say anything. We would just be like, break, and then we just count in the song. Never gonna give you
Oh
up.
my gosh.
Never gonna let you die. I swear. We would Rickroll them. Or play like Careless Whisper or something. So
That's funny.
it's fun making jazz musicians get out of their comfort zone. A lot of times they've hated me for it. But the thing is, I'm in there for 2 weeks and I'm gone.
Mm.
The beauty of being a director. So yeah, no. That type of stuff is awesome. I love that.
I'd say one of the things that I have a story from Disney World where I went and they have the walking marching bands there too.
Yeah.
And they were doing Saints Go Marching In.
Yep.
I wish I didn't sing on this video because it's a gold video. the main trumpet player they're walking around the crowd and smooth as butter. He starts making his way towards me. I'm not realizing it, he's coming to do something. He's just walking around, and
Yeah.
as soon as he gets close enough, he goes, right in my camera.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah, man, he got you.
He got me really good. It was the funniest thing, but as a core memory.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. Yeah, those bands at Disney are killing.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
It was like this 70-year-old dude too.
Yeah.
It's what it made it even funnier.
Yep.
And he could just relax and be fun, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially at a park, that's what you're there for.
Yeah.
To have fun, be entertained. I don't want to see a cool looking person. I want to see a funny, dancing around and having a party.
Yeah.
That surprises me. Though. I'd take the classical people to be more stiff than jazz.
Yeah, they're both stiff, I guess.
I guess so.
As far as horn players are concerned, I feel like drummers, they understand the entertainment aspect a little bit more. I think, guitar, bass players, they get it a little bit more than horn players. Horn players want to look cool, you go to like the jam sessions, they look like they don't care, even though they've been at home shedding for like 4 hours a day learning tunes, but they look like they don't care. They look cool,
Right. Tell me about a time you played with a band that you had no business playing with.
Okay, so this is the first time I played with Snack Time and Questlove played. So, yeah. So whenever I play with Snack Time, they shout out Sam Gellerstein, tuba player, band leader for Snack Time, for letting me play. I think he was working or something, but we were playing the UArts commencement, and they don't send out any tunes, no set lists. It's just like you show up and play, and we're playing out there, and Questlove was getting his honorary doctorate, and he took the drummer's sticks, and he just forced his way on the drum set, and just started playing, and we were playing "Living for the City," Stevie Wonder, you know that song, and I just laid out that 3/4 section. It's like the little interlude. I just laid out and just watched them all play, but that was a time. That was right after I decided to be a professional musician. That was all the confirmation I needed. All those times that I was practicing and getting on everybody's nerves, they all paid off for that moment. And ever since then, a lot more people have hit me up for gigs and directing stuff, but I had no business being there. It was just a right time, right place, right time. Very lucky. But, whenever anybody tells me they just got lucky, I always tell them, luck's just, what was it? Preparation meets opportunity.
Preparation meets opportunity, yeah.
So I had no business playing with those guys, but you bet I know Living for the City now. I know it in all 12 keys. I mean, it's not that hard of a song, but it's
right. But
you
got to know it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I feel like I'd be excused not knowing a song the first time.
But the second time,
it's come on, you should have.
Yeah. Realized.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, that's something that I'm struggling with all the time. It's well, I know this person wants me to play "Someone Like You" by Adele.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at looking off a chord sheet and just doing it like that. Yep. However, if it's expected that this is the go-to song we're gonna play, I should practice that.
Yeah.
Right, and that way they don't get mad at me or whatever. Because the first time it's okay, I'm making a mistake. It's the first time we're ever doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But if the next time, and if it's expected to do it again, you should definitely practice. Even if it's not, you should just learn the song to have another song under your belt.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to learn it by heart, too, because let's say in a scenario where you've got the chord chart and you're good to go, but the singer really doesn't know where the bridge happens, and they miss the bridge or they do it early, that's when knowing the song is king, because you can just, I just know that. I don't have to flip any pages. I don't have to adjust where my eyes are. Also, when you're not using sheet music, you can look at the audience and have a connection. I tell my guys, don't wear sunglasses. If it's really sunny, wear sunglasses. But if we're in the shade, you look real cool, but you're not making connections with people. I'm trying to stare into your soul as I gyrate my hips with my large horn. You know what I mean?
It's and not only that, but I was talking to Daryl Davis yesterday, and he was talking about how you play with someone like Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
And it was you can know the song, you can study the studio version, play that a million times, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Berry is gonna do
He's gonna do what he's gonna do.
he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
The song leader's gonna do what they're gonna do.
If you do it the same way every time, it gets boring.
It's boring. He's
Yeah.
been playing these songs
Yeah.
for 50 plus years.
Yep.
He's not gonna play it the same way. And the funniest thing I heard about it was that all of his intros are the same. It's so you got
Yeah.
like 5 seconds to figure out, okay, which one of these songs is it? Johnny Be Good? Is it what
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
And then to look at the band leader and then know all of the movements that they make when they're cueing everybody.
Yeah.
If you put your foot down, that means you got to stop playing, or you got to start playing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he leans this way, you play. If he does whatever, it means stop.
Yeah.
You can't learn that. That's not sheet music. That's not chord
Yeah.
charts. That's not nothing. That's you knowing the song inside and out.
Yep.
So all that to say, learn the song inside and out.
Yeah, man.
Especially if it's like blues or jazz.
And if you don't know it, just be on your toes and listen,
Be on your toes, yeah.
because that's the best skill. Listening to music, So some of the best musicians I know don't practice that much. They just listen a lot.
Mm-mm. Every time I go and play on Telus 360, I always sign my name up. I don't sing. I'm just a piano player.
Yeah.
I grab other people.
Yeah.
And we perform
Yep.
together. And oftentimes, whenever I'm performing, it's the first time I'm ever performing
Yeah.
that particular piece.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it with the open mic. It's low pressure.
Very low pressure.
But you can get some gigs out of it
You
sometimes.
get some amazing gigs out of it.
Yeah.
I got to play with one of my better friends now just because I went to Telus and played Jealous. You know that song?
Jealous by who?
Jealous of Labyrinth, I think.
Oh no, I don't know that song.
Oh, that's a good song.
Oh yeah,
A good slow song. Good
nice.
good tearjerker.
Oh okay.
But that's all first time I ever seen that piece
Yep.
because I knew how to play chords.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just knew how to read charts.
Yeah.
And as long as you can do something with your instrument,
Mm-hmm.
you can go up there and play. In even if you're learning, what I should do is I should bring one of those old weird instruments that I have and just come out with it and play. See what happens.
Yeah. People like the weird instruments.
People
Yeah.
love the weird instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about a time where you had to make a last minute decision for your band.
Okay. So. A last minute decision. You got me stumped here.
A make or break.
I feel like I only make last minute decisions. All right, hold on, let me think. I don't know. I feel like when you're running a band, I mean, stuff happens. Like people get sick. A lot of times I've got subs like last minute. I don't know. You really got me stumped here, Corey Rosen. Okay, so what's the question one more time?
A time where you had to make a last make or break split second decision. Maybe went wrong, maybe went right.
Well, I can tell you about a time where I was playing recently and somebody else made a split second decision. So we were playing a gig in Philly, and it was like a pickup gig with a bunch of people that don't necessarily play together. And I guess the drummer was like left off of a group chat. So the drummer never showed up. So luckily we were able to get somebody to show up last minute. But it turns out they forgot their cymbals, and we were like, it's okay, just no cymbals. We're already late. Let's just play. And they were like, oh, I don't got my sticks. And we were like, at that point, we were like, well, I'm not putting this guy under the bus anyway because he was trying to come bail us out.
Right.
Just as a drummer.
This was a
he
last
didn't know
second decision.
he was going to come play a gig. And what saved the whole gig, he had to run back to his house. He missed half the set. There was a trumpet player on that gig who had crazy tambourine skills. So we didn't have a drummer, but he was holding it down on tambourine, and it's just like the tambourine is like an epic instrument. Like if
Do you
you're
know how to play it?
if you're a vocalist or a horn player or anybody, like if you shed on tambourine or cowbell or I don't know, Wiro, like if you shed on those, like you have a super weapon.
Or spoons?
Spoons, I don't know, man.
No?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know any good spoon players.
No, I've seen some killer spoon
But
players.
but you can hold it down like in place of a drummer with just that, and that makes you so much more marketable too. Everybody loves the horn player that
We'll bust
will
out a tambourine.
will bust out a tambourine or will go ham on the cowbell.
How does one go ham on a cowbell?
You don't play the upbeats or the downbeats. You just you want to sound like you're drunk, you know. Just try and
sound like you're a cow.
yeah. I'll show you sometime, Corey. I'll show you how to go ham on the cowbell. Maybe one of these open mics.
Maybe.
Yeah, man. But that's totally a time where I thought we were donezo, and we weren't. So it was nice.
Tell me one of your most fun experiences playing with a band. Fun or funny?
One of my most fun experiences. I want to make sure I get a really fun one. But I played so many gigs. It's
Of
like
course, right? It's hard to nail down.
Yeah, it's hard to nail down. Okay, this is one that happened recently. We were playing in Rittenhouse Square, busking, and we were getting a good crowd. It was the first time Big Boy Brass ever played at Rittenhouse Square. And one of the trombone players came up to me, my buddy Mick, and he said, "Dude, I think that's Dave Bautista on that bench there." And I'm like, "Nah, that's not Dave." And I'm like looking at him, and he's just like this massive dude, and I'm like, "Damn, that's Dave Bautista." And Nick's like, "I'm gonna go take a picture. I'm gonna go get a picture with him." And I'm like, "Nah, man, like just let him go, let him live." And usually I do like some shtick about how we're trying to get more followers than Chuck E. Cheese. I don't talk a lot, but like I'll try and like say something every now and then when we're busking. I'll be like, "Yeah, they got 98,000. We need like 96,000 to go," and then we got them, But instead, I said we're trying to get more followers than Dave Bautista. Like he's all right, but I think we could take him. I didn't even know how many followers he had at the time.
Right.
And then I walk back to my sousaphone and I'd like eyeball him, and he's just like chuckling,
So
And
it was.
yeah, and he started his IG live, and came up to us and was like, "Gentlemen." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Dave Bautista." I was just, I was just joking. He's like, "No, I'm gonna let you plead your case." So I was on his IG live, like telling people why they should follow Big Boy Brass, and this was like so generous of Dave Bautista because he doesn't post, and he has like millions of followers.
Course, yeah.
Like immediately after that video, we just got like before pre Dave Bautista, we had like 2,000. Post Dave Bautista, we have like almost 4,000. So it was just like sometimes you just get lucky and somebody generously puts you on. He's like an A-list celebrity. He's an Avenger.
Yeah, he's an
actual Avenger.
Actual Avenger, WWE superstar.
Now, I haven't seen any of his movies, so maybe follow Big Boy Brass,
So maybe.
He's all right, He's like massive and stuff and a super nice guy, but follow Big Boy Brass on Instagram.
Have you ever had any other run-ins with celebrities?
Nobody like major. Like the thing with celebrities, I try and leave them alone.
Right, of course.
And
that's what you should do.
Yeah, they're people too, and it's probably annoying. Everybody bugging them all the time.
So unless they're in a space where that's like acceptable.
Yeah. So
don't do it.
Yeah, if they approach me, cool. If not, then that's all right. I feel like I've learned that from talking to people that work at Rock Lidditz and Claire, because they're always hanging out with like, I'm not going to name any names, but
musicians. Yeah.
Yeah, my homie Paul Berry, he works there, and he'd like tell me about it. But like, I mean, they just seem so unfazed by celebrity, which we should be,
Right.
It's not good to put people up on a pedestal.
No.
You're always gonna be disappointed.
Right. They're just people at the end of the day.
Yep.
Same thing as you and me.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't met Daryl Davis or anything, but
But it's a great time. it, it's something I'm having to learn as I'm meeting all these crazy people. Uh, Crazy as in like a very very good term. Um, that they're just people,
mm-hmm.
and they wanted to do something extraordinary, and they did it. And it didn't matter who they were at the time. They decided I want to do this. I don't I don't, and it always mostly started off as a passion. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to. The whole reason behind Dale Davis was there was an incident and when he was 10, marching along in a Cub Scout, and people just threw bottles and stuff at him because he was the only black kid in the
Mm-hmm.
Cub Scout regiment, troop, whatever. I should know this. I'm an Eagle Scout. But from that experience, he came up with the question: How can you hate me if you don't even know me? And
Yeah.
that whole thing led him down this path of, talking to and de-radicalizing KKK members, the National Socialist Movement, which is actual Nazis of America.
Yeah.
It just started from this passion of his, and now he
Yeah.
turned it into his whole career. If you're
Wow.
passionate about something, do it.
Yeah.
Who's stopping you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you can make something out of anything
Mm-hmm.
if you go at it full force.
Yeah.
Well,
Good deal.
good deal. I have one last question for you.
All right. Nice.
How do we encourage each other as musicians?
I think the best way is try and make them sound good. Try and tell them what you like about their playing. I got schooled the other night. I was playing with a really excellent drummer, and he was spreading the gospel of the quarter note and how him and I need to agree on the quarter note before we lay it back or speed up. And the way he did it, he like told me like, I love your energy, I love, because I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, I start these songs too fast. And he's like, no, I love the energy. Like we just got to agree on the quarter note. And he told me how to shed it. So I mean, my favorite way to do that personally for other musicians is just to harass them like, where's your horn at? Come on, play. Like yesterday on the Telus rooftop, we had like 20 people. We had like 8 trombones. And it's just like, just come play. That's what music's here for, to spread community and just spread the joy, So I mean, I think that's the best way to spreading is just not vibe people, just like I don't know, like I've met really good musicians that aren't only just really good, but they're like also really nice people, and that's just like very refreshing. So I mean, that's the way to do it.
So, what are some upcoming gigs that you guys have, and where can people
Oh man,
check
before
you
we
out?
wrap this up, I got a question for you, Corey
Oh
Rosen.
yeah,
I'm flipping the script.
do it.
Who's your golden goose? Who's like your
Oh, and John.
Elton John? That was quick.
Well, anybody
That was
who's
quick.
listening to this podcast knows Elton John
What
is
do
my.
what are you gonna ask Elton John that he hasn't been asked?
What am I gonna? Let's
Yeah.
see. Where do I start? He's. I just want to hear all the stories he has. Why? After dealing with the drugs,
Mhm.
what has he done with that? What has he done with this extra win that he's gotten? What has he done? How can he support the his movement, the LGBTQ people, because of how does he educate people on abusive managers and stuff like that? Like
Mhm.
what are some of the things that he's done? There's so much stuff that I could ask him. What was the songwriting process behind all of your songs?
Yeah.
What's the actual story there? I know
Mhm.
he has a songwriter, Bernie.
Yep.
But was there any collaboration? Was there any times he gave you a song and you just said no?
Mhm.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. Just learning how he went from this child prodigy to
Mhm.
actually getting out there with
Yeah.
gigs and finding that stage name, because Elton
Mhm.
John isn't his actual name.
Oh yeah, I've seen Rocket
right?
Man.
Uh, but just how,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's a definitive answer to why he, because I've heard the Rocket Man story isn't true.
Yeah.
Uh,
He didn't just
um,
steal it from his bandmate.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's a
I'm.
good movie story though.
It is a good. Well, of course, it
Yeah.
is. It's a movie.
Yeah.
But stuff like that. So what was it as a kid that really got you into music in the first place? I know you had a rough childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that draw inspiration for you? Do you push that away? How do you reconcile with a father who hates you, or how do you reconcile that within yourself? 'Cause that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'm sure I'm gonna ask him questions that he's already been asked, but
Yeah. Well, I hope you do it one day,
I
Corey.
hope I do it one
Yeah.
day too. What's it like to be able to live wherever you want and go wherever you want?
Yeah.
He introduced artists to America.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else. Something else he does.
Yeah.
Why? How? What's the problem? Did you just? Oh, I heard this album. I'm gonna just throw them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Such a cool person and
Yeah.
amazing music. How'd you get to write a song with Tupac?
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
He's worked with like everybody. though.
Everybody. That's
Yeah.
what I was like. I could.
He's on the Lil Nas X album, like the newest one, isn't he?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I could literally ask him about any musician that's ever lived,
Yeah.
and ask him how'd you get to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
What was that process? Gotta like from rap to country to blues to what he's done it all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many stories that just haven't been tapped into just because of the amount of life he's lived.
Yeah, for sure. Good deal. Good deal, Corey Rosen.
Well, where can people find you at?
Every first and third Sunday of the month till it gets too cold on the Tellus 360 rooftop in Lancaster. You can follow my bands, Street Beans Band, on Instagram. Big Boy Brass. We post the dates. I don't know when this is published, and like I don't actually even know all the dates off the top of my head. But catch some shows, buy some merch. Corey Rosen's wearing the Street Beans merch
Beans
today,
merchandise.
first edition Street Beans merch. So get the merch. The merch is fire. And yeah, man, thanks for having me. It was
Yeah,
really
man.
fun talking to you. I'm sorry this is probably like the worst episode. This episode sucked.
No, it's not.
It was good when
fine.
you talked, but when I was talking, it was like,
No,
you
no. It's fine. You did great, man. You get talking about what is it like to be a full time musician. That's something not a lot of people get to talk about. It's
Oh, yeah,
something
man.
most people it's a hobby.
mhm.
You do it full time. You know the spots. You gig. You busk.
Too good to me. Too
telling
good to
me
me,
stuff.
Corey Rosen.
No, you deserve it, man. You got it. You got it on lock. And
Thanks,
I
bro.
can't wait to see what you guys do in the future.
Thank you, man.
If you want to follow this podcast and check out all of my guests, upcoming and past, you can find us anywhere at just searching up The Story, Corey Rosen, CORYROSEN. Tomorrow I have on Kathleen Horian, or Horan. I can't remember how it's pronounced. I'm so sorry. But she's a teacher at several colleges in this area. Clarinet player. I'm really excited to talk to her what it's like to, be a classical musician in that aspect and having to teach students. And that's something we kind of didn't really get to touch on that much. What was, how to teach students.
That's okay.
That's okay.
she'll tell you all about it.
Well, with all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.